what age can you really start asking these questions to students or kids? Like, you know, I know you mentioned a 6-year-old, but like, how, you know, or what age would it really cease to be effective? Like a 2-year-old, 3-year-olds, or, you know?
We talk to babies anyway, you know, so baby, you know, at the very youngest age, where it's all, oh, you're so cute and cuddly, and oh, you dropped that. I would, you know, like if you understand the questions and the rationale, I'm not saying you have to ask a starter questions all day every day, but why not just say, oh, I wonder what you were thinking there. You know, you can actually introduce this at a very young age, as part of your own just dialogue and vocabulary. And it's not that you're expecting an answer back, you know, but they're hearing the questions over time, and you can, you know, you can adapt the questions. You know, what were you feeling? How did this make someone else feel? So you play with the questions, but getting across those ideas from the very beginning. You know, and you're asking them at 2, 3, 4, 5. It might be 6 before you get the first coherent answer back, but you've just dropped a number of pebbles over time. You've kind of worked them into your own mindset, which is a benefit. You're creating a culture as well. You know, so over time, they will absorb this. You know, I think a lot of time we think, whatever it is, the program, you know, well, I just need to ask this question and that question and the other question, and I need to get the answer back pretty much today. The restorative practice isn't like that. It's more a way of being than, you know, asking certain questions. So you're creating a culture, you're dropping little ideas over time, and then eventually it pays off. So, you know, on a good day, my own kids will work out something between themselves. Like they're 8, 10, and 12 now. They will resolve their own conflicts on a good day. And I'd like to think it's because they've gotten used to the idea of, okay, I need to tell my story, I need to listen to your story, and then I need to suggest a solution, and you need to suggest a solution. But it takes time to develop that culture. So I would say, start asking the questions in your own way, in your own style, from the very beginning.
And obviously, now that we sort of, you know, the data and the psychological theory has basically sort of proven that carer talk at a young age becomes your self-talk as an adult. Then, you know, presumably even down the line as adults, their way of resolving things internally when they make a mistake or goof is different than. Yeah,
exactly. They're creating a theory of mind, I think, is
that's the word
term that's coming to mind. And they're used to, you know, without understanding all the words necessarily, they're used to, okay, well, if something goes wrong, Mommy and Daddy are just going to ask me a load of questions, and I hear this back for, you know, oh God, a load of questions. Okay, but I mean, in another context, Mommy and Daddy are just going to be shouting, or God forbid, the teacher is going to be shouting. So they're absorbing this. They're absorbing so many messages. And again, you know, make the questions your own, make the language your own. Doesn't mean you have to sound like a, sometimes you hear that as well, oh, just sound like a robot. No, you'll know the way to phrase it yourself.